Hey everyone, Jedi64 here. Welcome back to part 2 of why I like the sequel trilogy. So, in the last video, we talked about The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. And in this video, we are going to be talking about my personal favorite movie of the sequel trilogy, The Rise of Skywalker. Let's begin. So, after we see the opening crawl, we hear about Palpatine's return, and Kylo Ren basically searches for a Sith wayfinder that will allow him to find him. He heads to Mustafar and absolutely destroys the people who are guarding it. I think these people were kind of like guardians, supposed to like protect it for some reason. And like, if you're wondering why Mustafar looks different, it's because like the planet's begun to heal. Like that was a whole storyline in like Vader Immortal. It was like a VR video game. I've always wanted to play it. It'd be like really cool. So maybe one day, people. One day. Anyway, after absolutely slaughtering the Guardians, he finds the Sith Wayfinder and begins to head to Exegol. And once he gets to Exegol, we see just how freaking epic this planet is. Basically, it's like the home world of the Sith. We see just massive statues of like the first Sith. And like it's just so crazy. Like I feel like this whole planet was just extremely creative and just very Star Warsy. Like it feels just very Sith, and I love it. Anyway, Kylo Ren confronts the Emperor, and we find out that the Emperor is basically dying. So, like, a lot of people say Palpatine's plan is confusing, but it's really not. Like, in the events of the Bad Batch, we see Project Necromancer was basically upended and, like, was never finished. So, he basically got. So, when he died in Return of the Jedi, he got stuck in this, like, deformed clone of himself. And he's literally is dying throughout the whole movie. So he has to find a replacement for who the new emperor is going to be. It'll either, and he basically pins Kylo and Rey against each other. So it's like, who will win? Will if Kylo kills Rey, that'll cement his turn to the dark side forever. If Rey kills Kylo, she will turn to the dark side and become the new emperor. However, because Leia kind of gets in the way of that, it kind of just results in neither of them becoming the Emperor, completely ruining Palpatine's plans. And then when Palpatine that tries to like suck their life force, he realizes, wait a minute, I can do this. They're a dyad, like, and it's just like, wait a minute, since they're a dyad, I can just suck all their life force and just become the Emperor myself again, and like. So that's basically Palpatine's plan in the movie. I don't know why people struggle to understand that. And then we see the Sith Fleet, or the Final Order, as they call it. I like to call it the Sith Fleet just because it sounds cooler. So for the rest of the video, I'm going to call it that. This fleet is like, it's very interesting because like, I have a feeling this fleet began its construction sometime like after the destruction of the first Death Star. That's at least my theory of when they began to build these. Because he had to have begun building these like years prior. Because there is like thousands of them. Like it's insane. And I like how they're the classic Star Destroyers, which really signifies just like kind of the era that they began its construction. So yes, a lot of people say the fleet is like too big, and I kind of agree with that, but at the same time it's like it's not that big of a deal in my opinion. So yeah. Anyway, we then cut to Rey on Avon Cross training with Leia. I have to say, I feel like Leia, like what they did with her, was just really respectful to Leia's character and Carrie Fisher's legacy. So I'm really happy with what they did with Leia. I feel like they absolutely nailed it. So anyway, we see Rey training on Avon Cross with her saber and like a thing. What's it called? It's like the same droid that we see in A New Hope. Anyway, she's training. However, Kylo Ren touches Vader's mask, meditating, and it triggers a vision of Rey seeing her parents and a vision of herself on the throne of the Sith. And it absolutely freaks her out. It removes all of her progress from like accepting that her parents were no and realizing that there's more to it than she realizes. So anyway, we then cut to Poe, Finn, and Chewie, and another alien creature. I don't remember his name. Basically, they are getting intel from a First Order spy about Exegol and Palpatine's return. After a cool action sequence, which I feel like basically it's light speed skipping, where they're jumping to hyperspace and they jump to hyperspace again and again, just trying to lose them. And I love it because it does feel like a trick smugglers would use to like disappear from the fuzz. So yeah, that was cool. After they find out Palpatine's return, they are sent on a quest to finish what Luke started. Basically, Luke was trying to find Exegol because he theorized Palpatine was behind a lot of stuff. So he basically tried to find the Wayfinder, hunting down Bochi Vestum. I think that's his name. Basically, their trail went cold on the desert planet of Fasana, so our heroes head there to look for it. They run into Lando Calrissian, who I love that they were able to get Lando in it because then it feels like they got all of the classic original trilogy characters in it. Lando gives them directions to Oshi's ship, and then they head out on a speeder chase to get there. After defeating a bunch of stormtroopers on their speeder bikes, or kind of like jetpacks, and like I don't know, it's a cool action scene. It's like, I have to say, I love the behind the scenes documentary of this movie. Like, it's just really good. So after a cool action scene with like, I don't know, you have to watch the behind the scenes. I feel like it's really good. Anyway, their speeders get shot down and they end up sinking in quicksand and end up underground in a cave. They find Ochi's dead remains and find the dagger which has the clue to where the Wayfinder is. But C-3PO can't translate it because it goes against his programming, which I like it because it's like the Sith is like too evil and like the Republic and the Jedi would not allow that. And I know for a fact Palpatine wouldn't allow it because he's like, I should be the only one that's able to translate Sith. Like he would want to control that. So anyway, a serpent snake creature tries to attack them, but Rey, using the Force or Beast Control, is like that one Force ability is called, uses the Force to heal the creature, and the creature then kind of lets them go. A lot of people say the Force healing ability breaks like canon, but it really doesn't. Because here's my theory. My theory is that this was an ability that the very first Jedi's were able to use, but it got lost to time, which is why Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan weren't able to use that ability. And then later on, when Luke found the Jedi texts, he eventually rediscovered this ability. And then, since Rey stole the Jedi text before she left Doctor 2, she was able to learn that ability. So that's my theory. Anyway, after they escape, when you're watching the movie, it doesn't really explain why Kylo tries to ram her with her TIE fighter. But in the novel, it explains that he's trying to test her to see if what Palpatine told him is true, to see if Rey is his granddaughter. So he tries to ram her with his TIE fighter, but Rey just flips over him and absolutely destroys the TIE fighter. Kylo Ren somehow survives, and Chewie gets captured by the First Order, and we get a fake-out death where Rey, in a fit of rage, accidentally uses Force Lightning to destroy the transport. Thinking Chewie's dead, they escape and head to Kijimi, where they meet up with Zori Bliss, who I think is a really cool bounty hunter kind of character. Like, I love the way she looks. They absolutely nailed her design. And basically, in the novelization, which, like, I highly like, if you like this movie, I strongly advise you read the novelization because it goes into a lot of stuff. Like, there's a bunch of deleted scenes on like Mustafar, and then there's like a deleted scene that I wish was in the movie where Kylo Ren interrogates Chewie, reaching into the Force to look into his mind, and he sees like flashbacks of like his childhood with Chewie and like Han and Leia, and then he just kind of lets Chewie live, and it really plays into his turn to the light side later on. So I absolutely love that moment. And the reason why Zori doesn't go with Poe and the others after she gives them the medallion is because she has people on, like, dang, what's the planet called that they're on? Kijimi, yeah. She doesn't go with them because she has friends on Kijimi that she has to get out first. I wish that was explained in the movie, but in the novelization, it does a great job. Anyway, we then get to like the moment C-3PO shines. Like I love that Chewie and 3PO got more to do in this movie. I feel like they nailed it. Basically, they hack into 3PO's brain, but in order him to translate what was on the dagger, his memory has to get erased. 3PO chooses to go through with the operation, saying goodbye to his friends and his memories, basically, effectively sacrificing himself to try to save the galaxy. I just think it's like a very selfless thing that 3PO does, and I just love it. And I love when he gets reactivated because he's like translating a Sith language. His eyes just turn red, and like it's really eerie. And then I love when he comes back to life. He's like, "Might I introduce myself? I'm C-3PO, human cyborg relations, and who are you?" And Poe's like, "Okay, that's gonna be a problem." And then basically Ray finds out Chewie is alive, and they sneak aboard the First Order Star Destroyer above. Then Poe and Chewie get captured, and they're about to be executed, but General Hux turns out to be the spy and kills the stormtroopers before they can kill them. I feel like people say that Hux being a spy ruins his character, but it really doesn't because, like, in the first movie and the second one, we see him basically the unofficial leader of the First Order. So when Snoke dies, Kylo just kind of sneaks in and takes that promotion from him and just treats Hux like absolute garbage. So I love how it's like just super petty, being like, well, if I can't rule the First Order, I might as well watch it burn to the ground. So he just like he's like, I just want Kylo Ren to lose. And then he later gets killed by General Pride, who just figures it out instantly. I like what they did with Hux's character. It was good in my opinion. So anyway, we then cut to Rey sneaks into Kylo Ren's chambers. I love the Darth Vader helmet that's just always lingering in the corner. Rey picks up the dagger and she finds out that Ochi killed her parents because he was looking for her. Like Palpatine ordered Ochi to find Rey. And after a cool lightsaber duel that like plays into the act like the dyad where they're basically in two separate locations fighting. And if you really think about it, like I can only imagine because like I imagine there's like a stormtrooper on Kijimi who just looks at Kylo just swinging his saber around, but there's like no one there, so it's just like wait, what's going on? So eventually, after destroying the pedestal that the Vader mask rests on, Kylo figures out where Rey is and confronts her. He tells Rey about how she's the granddaughter of Palpatine and now she has to come to terms with that. Palpatine killed her parents and absolutely ruined Rey's childhood, and now she's just filled with anger towards that. They then head to dang, what's this planet called? It's not Endor, but it's some other planet. Hmm. Anyway, they then head to the Death Star remains to because that's where the Wayfinder is, and they use the dagger to find the location of it. Like, cool, yeah. Some people say the whole dagger leading to the Wayfinder was like a convenient plot device, but I don't really care. It's like I don't know, it's cool. I don't care at all. Fans overreacting. We then meet Janna, who is basically like all these people on this planet are all defective stormtroopers that just defected from the First Order and like have been on this planet for a while. And in the novelization, it's revealed that Lando had an infant daughter that was kidnapped by the First Order, and Janna is supposed to be Lando's daughter, basically. I wish they explored that more, but I think it's cool that in the novelization they explored that. So yeah, that was pretty cool in my opinion. Anyway, in the next scene, well, oh yeah, we already seen this one. They head to the Death Star, and Rey, basically being impatient, emotionally unbalanced after the revelations that she's experienced, heads to the Death Star by herself with Finn chasing after her, of course. She finds the Wayfinder, but has a vision of herself as a Sith. And in the novel, it's revealed that the lightsaber that in this vision Darth Ray is holding is her lightsaber that she was working on. So when she's seeing her holding this lightsaber, she's like, "Oh shit, this is about to happen, isn't it?" So after a quick fight that I feel like should have been longer, it was like really cool, like Dark Ray's lightsaber, how it kind of just folds and like that was cool. We then cut to what is, in my opinion, the best lightsaber fight of the sequel trilogy. I love how they're using real water with the actors, so they're like in the water for real. So like that's just really visually impressive. But I have to say, why the actual fuck was Duel of the Fates not in this lightsaber fight? Like there is like literally fan edits that edit in Duel of the Fates into this lightsaber fight, and it just elevates it so much. And it sucks because like I hear Ryan Johnston did like a whole score for this movie, but for some reason they didn't use it and just kind of did a mixture of all like the music from the saga. But I'm just like, come on, man. Duel of the Fates was locked and ready to go, but they just didn't use it for some reason. Ah, missed an opportunity, man. Anyway, Kylo gets the upper hand and is about to kill Rey, but through the Force, Leia reaches out to him and dies. Rest in peace, Carrie Fisher. Anyway, after Leia dies after reaching out to her son one last time, Rey stabs Kylo, but then she feels Leia's death and realizes what she had done. She had given into her anger, and she realizes in that moment she will fall to the dark side if she confronts Palpatine. So she uses the Force to heal Kylo, and saying that I did want to take your hand, Ben's hand, and then steals his TIE fighter and heads to Octo. After Rey heals him, Kylo Ren, or Ben Solo, has kind of a vision memory of Han, kind of reliving that moment, wanting to do what he should have done originally. After some encouraging words from his memory father, he chucks his lightsaber away in a beautiful scene. Like, this is my favorite part of the movie. He chucks the saber away and becomes Ben Solo again, and he's gonna do the right thing for once. And after this scene, we see Palpatine order General Pride, who I think was in on it, like Palpatine's conspiracy from the beginning. He orders a ship from the Final Order to head to Kijimi and destroy the planet. Like, it fires a super laser, drills into the planet's core, and it blows up. A lot of people have a problem with that, but it's like, okay, they had made like two Death Stars at this point, and like, of course, they would be able to miniaturize it by then, and it's not as powerful as like the Death Stars or Starkiller Base. Like, it takes a while for it to drill into the planet. So yeah, and in the novel, it's explained that that ship does fly back to Exegol. If you're wondering. Anyway, we then cut to Octo, where we see Luke, like Rey crashes the TIE fighter, she burns it to the ground, vowing to do what Luke did and just hide away on the island. She chucks the saber, but then Luke catches it. And I love how Luke makes fun of his saber tossing. He's like, "Yep, I was dumb. Don't be stupid like me." He gives some encouraging words to Rey, saying that he knew she was a Palpatine, and that just feels like a lie. I don't know. Luke knowing that Rey's a Palpatine doesn't make sense in The Last Jedi, in my opinion. Because, like, the way they did the sequel trilogy, that there wasn't really a plan. Like, the movies weren't really thought out. They just kind of told the story. Like, it unfolded in a really great way, in my opinion. But there should have been an overarching plan to begin with the trilogy. So Luke saying that he and Leia knew that Rey was a Palpatine doesn't really make sense. Like, I can see Luke, after dying and becoming a Force ghost, figuring out and then passing on his wisdom to Leia. Because in the novel, it's explained that he was speaking to Leia through the Force as Leia was training Rey, which I just love. Oh, it's so good. You really should read the novel. It's so good. Anyway, so that's my thoughts on that. Anyway, he then brings Rey to his hut where Rey gets Leia's lightsaber. And I have to say, Leia's lightsaber is absolutely gorgeous. Like, I want her saber so badly. It's just, mwah, it's beautiful. Luke then explains that for a short time after Return of the Jedi, he trained Leia in the ways of the Force. However, because she was pregnant, she realized that she just wanted to focus on her son, raising him, and like, she felt that if she continued down her Jedi path, her son would die. So she eventually passed on the saber to Luke, saying that one day someone would pick it up again and finish her journey, which Rey is doing now. We then cut to the Battle of Exegol. They send Lando to the core worlds to get reinforcements since the Resistance has rebuilt, but not that strong. Head to Exegol and they're immediately getting destroyed. Like, it's like 1 against 1,000. It's a really just visually impressive battle. Like, I love when, like, they land the ship on the First Order Star Destroyer and, like, the horses and, like, Finn and Janna are fighting on, like, the hull of the Star Destroyer. Like, it's just so good. We then cut to Rey heads to Exegol. She confronts the Emperor. However, he goes full Return of the Jedi and says, "If you do not join me, then your friends will die." So she's tempted to do it, because like if Kylo or Ben had not showed up, Rey probably would have struck down the Emperor and like turned to the dark side, and basically be possessed. Because it basically is revealed by Palpatine that when a Sith kills another Sith, their kind of life force, their kind of soul, kind of like goes inside them, which I like because it means when Palpatine killed Plagueis in his sleep, Plagueis kind of just became one with Palpatine, like all the Sith live in me. Anyway, she then senses Ben and using the Force with their dyad, basically teleports the saber into his hand. Kylo fights off the Knights of Ren, and again, we need a TV show exploring Ben's fall to the dark side, because then we can finally get to see the Knights of Ren in some more action. Because, I don't know, it's hard to describe, but the Knights of Ren are kind of like dark side cultists, so kind of like space pirates, basically. That like they had a leader, but Kylo killed him. Like, so hard to describe, but it's a good comic. But I just wanted it in a show or a novel or something. Anyway, like they kill the Knights of Ren, the Praetorian Guards, and they try to stop Palpatine, but Palpatine realizes they're a dyad and sucks their life force, chucking Ben into a hole, and basically it's not looking good. So Lando shows up with a massive fleet. Like, this is massive. And I have to say, either Lando gave one hell of a speech, or J.J. Abrams overcompensated. Because that's a lot of ships. I feel like they should have toned down the Final Order fleet size and, like, the Rebellion's fleet size in this movie. It's not really a massive problem, in my opinion. Like, I still absolutely love the Battle of Exegol. I think it's awesome as hell. But yeah, that's my opinion on that. So anyway, Palpatine goes full on God mode and just absolutely annihilates all the ships in the atmosphere. He's about to win, like he's using all the power of the Force, the dark side, and is just causing all the ships to crash and burn. Rey, in one last desperation, uses the Force to try to reach out to the Force ghosts. We hear Anakin, Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, Mace Windu, Kanan Jarrus, Ahsoka Tano, Aayla Secura, Luminara Unduli, I think some others. Oh yeah, Luke. And she gets the strength to get back up, and she grabs both lightsabers. The Emperor uses the Force, and chucks lightning at her, but she uses the lightsabers to deflect it. And then Palpatine says, "I am all the Sith," and Rey's like, "I am all the Jedi." Like, it's a cool moment, but when it came out, I feel like fans were like, "Ugh, that's just a rip off of Endgame." Because in Endgame, like, Thanos is like, "I am inevitable," and then Iron Man is like, "I am Iron Man." So people felt like it was kind of a copy paste, but it's like, I don't know, what do you expect them to do? Anyway, she absolutely disintegrates Palpatine, and the day is won. She's confronted her dark past. She's defeated the Emperor, and she's accepted everything and has become a Jedi. So after a quick celebration, we see the galaxy has come together to take down the First Order and the Sith once and for all. And we see Rey head to Tatooine to the Lars homestead. She buries Luke and Leia's lightsaber to giving them a proper funeral. And she then creates her own lightsaber made from a chunk of her staff, which I just love. It's like a beautiful yellow. I want to see her use it in like a future movie so badly. She then looks to the horizon, sees Luke and Leia's Force ghost, and accepts her true family name, Skywalker. Basically, realizing that her family was her friends and her teachers. And I just love that. The movie ends with her and BB 8 looking off into the distance at the twin suns, and the movie ends. Oh, yeah, it's just, this movie's just great, man. Like, even just talking about it makes me want to watch it again. Like, oh, I just love all the characters, the acting, the CGI. This is like one of the most visually impressive films of the saga, and I just love it. Yeah. So anyway, that is my thoughts on the Rise of Skywalker. Oh, it's not a perfect movie, but then again, no movie is ever perfect. Even the original trilogy has its flaws. So at the end of the day, I think the sequel trilogies are just fun stories expanding the Star Wars universe and continuing the stories of the original trilogy and the prequels. And if you don't like them, then hey, that's fine. You're entitled to your opinion. And if you do like them, hey, that's great for you. I love it. Join the club, baby. So yeah, if you have not seen these movies, or just give them a chance, you know? Don't let other people's opinions sway you from making your own opinions. Anyway, with that said, may the force be with you. I hope you enjoyed my two-part video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.